6 p.m. news bulletin coming to you from our studios on the I Road. I am telling Gite a look at the headlines. President Adam for you to continue to participate in national development, irrespective of their political affiliation. The National Environment Agency briefs lawmakers on the state of the Gambia's environment. Forging new continental partnerships, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a tour of Africa ahead of the BRICS summit. Plus, advancing the bloc of emerging global economies, South Africa prepares to host several world leaders, including Russia's Vladimir Putin in the upcoming BRICS summit. Well, now, viewers, these and more coming ahead. Do stay with us. Those were the headlines, and now a look at the news in detail. His Excellency President Adama Barrow has challenged the people of Fonyi to continue to participate in national development, irrespective of their political affiliation, and refrain from disintegrating themselves from the rest of the country. The government leader made these remarks in Buyam on Tuesday before proceeding to Sibanor, Kafuta and Faraba in the Fonyi, Bintang, Karanai and Kombo East respectively, as part of the second phase of his nationwide led Dialogue of the People's Tour. Suma Jadama tells us more.
The annual trip, which is constitutionally meant to give a first-hand information to the President on development concerns of Gambians, is currently attended by cabinet ministers, development experts and senior government officials. From the Fonyi Kansala and Bintang Karanai settlements of Buyam and Sibano, right to the Kombo East communities of Kafuta and Faraba, discussions continuously featured insufficient dispensation of agriculture, health, education, fisheries and environmental management. The introduction of viable youth and women empowerment projects through decentralization programs, according to various speakers in Fonyi and Kombo East, will significantly reduce rural-urban migration. President Barrow, in his message, wholeheartedly encouraged the people of Fonyi to accept him as the Gambian president and exclusively participate in nation building, irrespective of their political loyalty. Fonyi, he maintained, should not be isolated as a separate community in the country, while assuring them of government's continuous cooperation and support.
Safo Fonyi ngole ko Gambia tili sabale sordo jang kunun ko tilo anin kunun anin bi tilo wala bekeri. Nsa londi Fonyi mako ibe Gambia le ko.
The Gambian leader and cabinet minister exposed some of the ongoing humanitarian projects in Fonyi and Kombo East, including the National Development Plan, which is earmarked to holistically develop the country. On the areas of miscommunication and fabrication of facts, President Barrow refuted allegations made by detractors that he is going to use state funds to build mosques across the country as a propaganda tool to suppress the country's Christian population.
Mol ben na society ko me alon ko mol la hakilo jakasi mol me alon ko news jawo ike baru wala mol ye me alon ko mala fi Gambia la Cairo la ni e kumo men fo ya yelmandi pra tinya pour Gambia ita ko baru wol mu mol le me alon ko nimbe bita nyaado fra mala fi teta nyaato bari sa fo e ko nimbe man pareta la faran ni man sakunda pareta la bita la mode la.
These allegations, according to the president, are just meant to stain his reputation while promising to respect the secularism status of the country. Suma Jarama reporting for GRTS.
Well, from the President and now to the Vice President, His Excellency Usainu Dabo, who on Wednesday received in his office the Deputy to the Commander for Civil Military Engagements of the U.S. Africa Command, Ambassador Alex Laskaris. He said his discussion with the Vice President centered on the security reforms and as well forging partnership with the Gambia security sector. Ominjai has details in this report.
Ambassador Alex Laskaris, who is the Deputy to the Commander for Civil Military Engagements of the United States Africa Command, paid a courtesy call on the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Honorable Usainu Dabo, accompanied by the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, Patricia Alsop, and different security forces in the country. led by CDS Masani Kinde, Ambassador Lascaris said he was there to discuss about security reforms and look at how best they can work with Gambian security to reach another level.
The subject of the meeting was security sector reform. And I think the government, the president, the vice president, the senior elected civilian leaders have a sound vision of where the Gambian security sector should be. The security sector, whether in my case, I'm obviously from the military, so I deal with militaries, but the security service as a whole should be under elected civilian leadership of the country. It should be respectful of that leadership. It should protect and defend all of the people of the Republic of Gambia.
Currently, the Gambia security sector is undergoing a lot of reforms. Now, this meeting with the U.S. top security man will open ways whereby Gambian security personnel will be trained and equipped with requisite knowledge in related issues.
Well, we spoke to the Chief of Defense Staff, and we want to begin the process of reestablishing the military-to-military relations, whether it is training, whether it is equipping, whether it is operating together. I briefed them on the work we're doing in the Sahel and the Lake Chad Basin, where our partners, whether it's Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, need help. They need help from the international community, from the United States, from the UN, from the EU, but most of all, they need the soldiers from Africa. Gambia answered the call in Ecomog in Liberia in 1991. We lost a few years, but hopefully we'll get to the point where Gambia can begin to answer the call of African solidarity.
This is the first high-level meeting held between the presidency and the U.S. Africa Command top man. The meeting marks the beginning of a fruitful partnership between Gambian security men and the United States Africa Command and efforts to uplift the Gambian security agenda. Jai, GRTS.
Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation on Wednesday presented its 2015 activity report before members of the Finance and Public Enterprise Committees of the National Assembly. Denke Ture was following proceedings and now files in this report.
At Wednesday's Public Enterprise Committee engagement, parliamentarians, including its chair, deliberated on the importance of their activity. Halifa Saleh told senior personnel of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation that activities of the committee add value to institutions by effectively communicating to those charged with governance and management.
Our duty now is to review what we've heard from you, examine it with the view to come up with observations that will be transformed into resolutions as well as recommendations.
Presenting the institution's 2015 activity report, the Director of Finance at the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation, Abdullah Cham, said they have witnessed a series of activities geared towards national development.
The results for the year ended 31st December 2015 are as set out in the attached financial statements. Our principal activities, the corporation acts as the sole pension provider to employees in both public and private sector organizations. In the Gambia, the corporation also operates housing schemes on a mortgage or commercial basis.
Observations and recommendations were also made by individuals such as SSHFC Managing Director Muhammad Manjang and the institution's auditor Augustus Prom.
Recommendations for systems and operational improvement based on observations gathered during the course of the audit. The management letter is used to communicate with those charged with governance, focusing on the following: weaknesses noted within the internal control systems that could lead to material losses or misstatements in the financial statements.
The recommendations are well noted. A, the implementation status will be included in future internal audit reports. B, a draft annual work plan is currently with the newly appointed board audit subcommittee for review and approval accordingly. C, the recommended key aspect of the audit manual will be incorporated.
From a feedback conducted by the Gambia Public Procurement Authority, GPPA, in line with the Procurement Act, the corporation complied in most of the variables. Buba Jata is a senior procurement Policy and Operation Assistant at GPPA.
Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation were complying with most of the variable, except variable 6, that's contract management. Variable 6, the procurement organizations shall establish and provide staffing necessary for the operation involved in the contract administration as described in instruction. Observation, it was observed that Social Security Housing Finance Corporation has not created a contract management team who are responsible for the contract execution.
With several aims like the provision of adequate social protection for workers, facilitating shelter delivery, and investing members' funds to achieve optimum returns, Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation is tasked to return to the National Assembly for more scrutiny before the adoption of its report. For GRTS News, I am Janke Ture.
Well, from some auditing to some philanthropic work, the Badibu Society in the United Kingdom on Tuesday made cash donations to 6 communities in the North Bank region. The initiative is part of efforts to assist disaster victims in the country. Sisi Sawane has details of that story.
From the philanthropic gesture include Badibu Nukunda, Kante Kunda, Jali Kunda, Alkali Kunda, Ilyasa, and Badibu India. The intervention targeted communities affected by heavy windstorms that destroyed several houses and left rooftops opened in the North Bank region. According to Siaka Jata, a member of the organization, the charitable effort is aimed at assisting disaster-affected households with cash amounts to refurbish houses damaged by torrential windstorms.
We thought forming the society in UK to help the people on the ground is very helpful. That's where we come from. And we want to give them help. Some of the destroyed properties has already been rebuilt or furnished. So at the moment, the money they should use in summer for feeding and in taking care of the family, they use that money. This is why we decided to give them money.
The Deputy Governor of the North Bank region, Fat Juve, outlined a picture of disasters caused by heavy showers in her region. She called on natives to put up a well-planned infrastructure to avoid such occurrences.
To sensitize our people when to build houses, have a very good foundation, and also to avoid where we have these water stopping areas. That would definitely help us.
With the effect of heavy downpours and storms becoming increasingly alarming, the region's Disaster Management Office is working tirelessly to mitigate the impact of disasters through sensitization. Mamadou Bike Sese is the Regional Disaster Coordinator. His short-term solution to reduce the damage of torrential rain showers is, however, the planting of more trees in the area.
People need to be encouraged to plant trees, and not only planting them, they should also take care of those trees, like so that they can serve as a windbreaker for us. Also, people also need to understand that, because this year rain forecast from the Department of Water Resources, we were informed that the rainfall will be below normal. That means we need to be prepared.
The assistance has brought smiles to the face of many families who benefited from the generous gesture by the Diasporan Society. They all thanked donors for the timely support. Ansumana Chati, a beneficiary from Jalikunda, whose roof was blown off weeks ago, promised to put the money into good use. This is not the first engagement of the Badibu Society in the United Kingdom. They have been embarking on such initiatives to help the poor and needy across the country, and with summer taking its toll on vulnerable families, the group intends to increase its intervention and contribution to national development. For the news, I am Sisi Sawane.
Well, now, the National Environment Agency on Tuesday convened a consultative forum with members of the National Assembly Select Committee on the Environment. The meeting asked about reports.
The objective of raising awareness of members of the National Assembly Select Committee on the Environment on environmental issues and related subjects. The consultative meeting is described as timely and crucial, hence its aim to educate the committee members on their mandate. The issue of chemical management was at the high level of discussion. Environment officials stressed the need to raise awareness on such topics and outlined that it will strengthen and enable the National Assembly Select Committee on Environment to facilitate the implementation of the Chemical Convention, which the Gambia is a state party.
This project aims to strengthen the national capacity to be able to implement, because these agreements have obligations that need to be implemented at the national level, and that requires capacity. So this project is aimed at building capacity, especially for the National Assembly members.
Chemicals and its harmful effect on the environment and consumers have a major challenge. Now, the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutant is key in addressing the menace.
The Gambia government, in partnership with United Nations Environment Program, Special Program Secretariat, is implementing this important project as part of the implementation of the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants, POPs. The Gambia has ratified most of the, if not all, the aforementioned convention with the ultimate aim to protect human health and the environment.
The chairman of the National Assembly Select Committee on the Environment acknowledged that the meeting will widen their horizon on environment issues and help them in executing their functions.
As the committee charged with the protection of the environment, we are quite privileged to be part of this training. Privileged in the sense that it will enable our members to learn new things and also share experiences with experts or facilitators. It will go on to hone our skills as honorary members who are charged with formulating laws for the country.
Environment officials are calling on all stakeholders in the cruise ship to achieving the desired goals in environment preservation to work closely. It is hoped that the lessons learned will have a positive impact on the way chemicals are being used in society. Reporting for Grts News, I am Kumbaba.
Well, from Kumaba now to this, the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Guarantee Trust Bank has unveiled a new technology banking product. Adesina Adebasin made the disclosure at a presentation marking GT Bank's 2018 Save and Win promotion. Usman Mane was there, and this is his report.
The Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Guarantee Trust Bank Gambia Limited has formally launched a new technology banking product at the office headquarters along Kairaba Avenue. Adesina Adebasin made the disclosure at the presentation of winners of the GT Bank Save and Win Promotion 2018. He said the new mobile technology service is simple and reliable and requires no internet service or credit to perform banking services for customers.
We call it the Star 737 checkout. And what is this? It's a USSD platform, mobile phone service. That's very simple, it's reliable, it's smart and safe. A very safe way to be able to bank anytime, anywhere and on the go. And on any device, and it does not require credit, doesn't require the internet.
The draw for the Save and Win promo was on 3 categories. 23 winners received valuable items such as detergents, gallons of vegetable cooking oil, bags of rice, motorcycle, and a refrigerator in the bank's latest price. Speaking on the occasion, MD Adebasin reaffirmed the bank's commitment to fulfill its social corporate responsibilities, citing the Save and Win promotion as a way of giving back to its esteemed customers.
This event is yet again a fulfillment of a promise that we have made to you, to our esteemed customers and partners. It is a way of saying thank you for your patronage and encouraging you not to delay but to continue to save with us.
Speaking on the occasion, MD Adebasin reaffirms the bank's commitment to fulfill its social corporate responsibilities, citing the Save and Win promotion as a way of giving back to its esteemed customers. He enjoined customers to continue banking with GT Bank for more valuable prizes, saying the grand prize will avail customers the opportunity to win a fully built 3-bedroom home, a return ticket to Dubai with $2,000 travel money, and a sitting room furniture. Head of GT Bank Corporate Affairs, Dudu Bojang, gave a background of the promotion and assured customers of the bank's continued efforts to make banking services accessible to all.
There is a 4th category, and this is a category of our customers who would have saved above $200,000. Once you have done this, you have the opportunity to win fabulous prizes. All you need to do is put as much money as you can in your accounts, keep it here. We give you your money back when you need it. Also, we give you a house. Isn't that beautiful?
Mr. Bojan said the prizes are meant to show appreciation and fulfill promises made to customers. And Jasala and Omar Sise, winners of a motorbike and a refrigerator, respectively expressed delight and thanked the officials of GT Bank for the gesture. For GRTS News, I am Usman Mane.
Well, congratulations to all the happy winners. And we'll take a break and return. The Scorpions, the Gambia National Scorpions team, has a new coach. Well, we'll find out who the person is after this break. Do stay with us.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's why we want you to see it, just as we see it now. LG OLED TV.
I'm tired of the same things, the same stress and the struggles every day. Time is money, we don't have time to delay. No more struggles every day. You don't need hustles and the long queue just to buy cash power. 737. Don't suffer just to pay your bills. Know your balance and buy some goods. Send some money to your family. 737. Access your account and get a mini statement. Get a checkbook, post up a check. Fast, secure, reliable. 737. You can be a doctor or a fisherman, teacher or a carpenter man. 737 is for everyone. Jamano de Valenta. Kododo Kona Yato Kono GT Banko Velenti Baba. Any time of the day, spend your money anywhere you are. Any time of the day, you want to get a loco.
Welcome back, and now in our local sports, the Gambia Football Federation has appointed a new coach for the national Scorpion team. Tom Steinford is a Belgian national with immense experience, garnered from coaching in almost every continent in the world. Modi Jan sat down with the man known as The Scent for an exclusive interview at the GFF Football House in Canifing.
In an exclusive interview with newly appointed Scorpions head coach Tom Steinford, nicknamed The Saint, a variety of issues were discussed, ranging from the gaffer's first impressions of the Smiling Coast to his preferred tactical formation, from his recruitment strategy to his relatively short-term contract of 9 months. Surprisingly, The Saint was very forthcoming, and his optimism was quite contagious.
I'm very happy to be here. I knew the country since 2010 when I was here for the first time with the Namibian national team. I was that time already impressed about the football, the quality, the stadium, the atmosphere. Now I'm here for a week, and it's a very beautiful country. It's a very well organized country. I compare it to many other African countries, and it's very enjoyable.
The gaffer also spoke about his willingness to partake in the development of youth categories from the under-23s to the under-15s.
I would like to help this country also in developing both youth football, under-17, under-20, under-23, but even lower than that, under-15, academic structure, school football, but also in the coach education, because I believe that it starts all with development.
Sandong, the former head coach and now technical director, had a mandate to rebuild and rebrand Gambian football. Through that process, a lot of new faces have emerged to the forefront of the national senior team. Now the Saint is tasked with the responsibility of getting results consistently and improving performances.
We will try to find a competitive squad. There will be some names who were in the past selected, maybe not invited in the short term. That doesn't mean that they will not return afterwards. It is also a choice compared to the opponent we play.
He has only 9 months to make an impression in order to earn himself a long-term contract. His first match at the helm will be played in September against North African giants Algeria in Banjul for the continuation of the AFCON qualifiers for the 2019 edition.
Short-term focus is on our qualification games. First game in September against Algeria, later Togo and Benin. We would like to perform well, to get decent results, and on the end we will see if it's enough to be close to the top of the group, to be second or third.
There is definitely no grace period for the Saint. The footballing public will be casting a keen eye on this fixture. Modou Diagne for GRTS.
The much needed blessing to our Gambian football. But we'll take a break. When we return, we'll take a look at news from beyond our borders. To stay with us, we'll be right back.
Not now. I promised to buy cash power today.
Stop complaining and use your Africell line to get us cash power.
My Africell line? Africell?
Oh yes! With your Africell line. To buy your cash power, simply dial *777# to access your Africell money account and choose Buy Cash Power. Register your meter number, enter the amount of cash power you want to buy, and then enter your Africell money PIN code to confirm your transaction.
But how can I refill my Africell money account?
You can top up your Africell money account with no extra charges from any Africell outlet near you, or simply at any shop or bank where you see a sign that says Africell money available here. Buy your cash power now straight from your Africell money account at the cheapest cost ever. That's 50% less than the fees of other operators. A price nobody dares to match. Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back, and now to news from beyond our borders. In India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been on a tour of Africa ahead of the BRICS summit. He's been in trade talks with Ugandan President Museveni, bringing a two-day visit to the East African country. Well, CGTN's Isabel Nakiria has that story.
The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has signed pacts on trade and defense with the Ugandan government.
We have consented to the proposal of providing $200 million of 2 lines of credit for the development of energy infrastructure and the agriculture sector. Our area of cooperation in defense is also growing, and we are ready to strengthen it.
India is one of Uganda's biggest import markets. Trade between the two countries has been growing, but there remains a huge imbalance. Figures from the central bank show that in 2017, Uganda imported close to $600 million worth of goods from India, while India only imported $44 million worth of goods from Uganda.
I had a very good discussion with the Prime Minister how to enhance this, how India can work with Uganda to promote more sales into India.
India has also plans to invest in healthcare in Uganda and has offered to provide a cancer machine to reduce the number of locals traveling to India for specialized care. Over 30% of Indians live and work in Uganda, contributing over 60% of direct tax collections to the economy. But most of these businesses are privately owned, and Prime Minister Modi's visit aims at investing more state-owned enterprises in Uganda to strengthen trade relations. Prime Minister Modi will also address the Indian community in Uganda, a local business forum, and members of parliament before departing for the BRICS summit in South Africa. Isabel Nakiria, CGTN, Entebbe, Uganda.
Now, while we talk about the summit that will take place in South Africa, the idea of a bloc of emerging economies started in 2001. Since then, the group has become what's now known as BRICS. Well, CGTN explains how the group is set up and its significance on the global stage.
Emerging economies started in 2001. When Goldman Sachs chief economist Jim O'Neill singled out Brazil, Russia, India and China as the future economic powerhouses globally. In December 2010, China, as the chair, invited South Africa to join the bloc, officially changing the acronym to BRICS. Today, its economic potential is strengthened by the fact that just a small number of members represent the vast expanse of the world's emerging economies. Countries generate roughly 22% of world GDP and contribute more than 50% to global economic growth. But how did it grow into a major platform for cooperation amongst emerging markets and developing countries? Well, in the last decade, the bloc has strengthened its foundation through yearly summits and meetings amongst members' national security advisors, foreign ministers, and other ministerial meetings. This has resulted in several cooperation agreements in areas such as trade, finance, business, agriculture, education, health, science and technology, as well as culture. As a result, from 2007 to 2017, trade volumes increased from about 11% to 16% of the world's total, and foreign investment is up from 7 to 12%. Up until today, the bloc has created several vehicles that essentially give structure to their various cooperation agreements. At the 2014 6th BRICS Summit in Brazil, leaders signed the agreement establishing the new development bank. The bank's aim is to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS and other emerging economies. Today, it has 23 new projects worth about $6 billion in the pipeline for financing. Together with the contingent reserve arrangement, the bank will finance $8 billion in loans. BRICS has also established a business council and a think tank council to discuss the various interests and draw up a blueprint for the group's future development.
Well, over now to the weather report courtesy of the Central Forecast Office. Well, it looks like a pretty warm day ahead, and with that we come to the end of this newscast. Before we go, recap of our headline stories again. President Adama Barrow has called on the people of Fonyi to continue to participate in national development irrespective of their political affiliation. The National Environment Agency has briefed lawmakers on the state of the Gambia's environment. For the new continental partnership, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has begun a tour of Africa ahead of the BRICS summit. Plus, advancing the bloc of emerging global economies that Africa is preparing to host several world leaders, including Russia's Vladimir Putin, in the upcoming BRICS summit. Well, that was all in this edition of the news, and see you again at 10 p.m. Well, I just started in 1 minute, I did it in 1 minute. Bye-bye.